when you scratch excessively, there's actually a pleasure center. So much so that the more you scratch, the more pleasant you feel.
The better you feel.
Yes.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Ask Me Doctor Season 3, a health video series for you and your family. I'm Syahira from motherhood.com.my. Stop scratching! Haven't you just heard that a zillion times? It's so frustrating when people say, just stop scratching. Of course, you would love to stop scratching. You know that if you stop scratching, your skin would look better, but it's not that easy. It's hard for people who do not have itchy, dry, or even eczema skin to understand why those who do scratch so much. Eczema is common in children. However, it can happen to just about anyone, including adults as well. Many kids and teens with eczema have family members who have it, and experts think that it passes from parents and to kids through genes. There are several treatments and tips that can help to manage dry, itchy skin and the symptoms of eczema. However, there is no cure for eczema. Here to help us better understand eczema and dry skin and how to manage them in children and adults, I bring to you Dr. Adrian Yong from AY Skin Specialist Clinic. Hi Dr. Adrian, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. Very well, thank you. Hi Syahira.
Okay, so we have a lot of frequently asked questions regarding itchy, dry and eczema skin. If you're ready, shall we get started?
Let's go.
Okay, so my first question for you, is eczema the same as rash?
Okay, so what is eczema? Eczema is actually inflammation of the skin, resulting in redness, flaking and itching. Now, of course, that presents as a rash, but a rash, there are many different kinds of rashes, all right? So to understand eczema, first of all, you need to see the schematic of the skin. This is the top layer of the skin known as the epidermis, and this is the deeper layer called the dermis. Now, what happens very commonly with eczema is when the skin barrier is disrupted, it's broken. Now, what can disrupt the skin barrier? Number one, wrong choice of products. When you have sensitive skin and use something that's too harsh, that strips off the oil, or you're using too much hot water, or you're swimming too often in chlorinated water and not putting the right products on to maintain the moisture, that leads to barrier disruption. Secondly, it can also lead to inflammation from products that doesn't suit your skin, and therefore it can lead to inflammation, whereby your white cells or inflammatory cells goes crazy and starts to attack the top layer of the skin.
Right.
So yes, eczema can produce a rash, but not all rashes are eczema.
Okay, very well explained. All right, so I'm going to move on to my next question for you, doctor. What causes itchy, dry, and eczema skin?
Okay, so firstly, if you're using products which are very drying because you think that the flaky skin is due to fungal infection or bacterial infection, or you're using water that's very, very hot, okay, or just rubbing your skin excessively or scratching for that matter, where you break the skin barrier, that will lead to an insult to the skin barrier and higher evaporation rate, what we call transepidermal water loss. So that's number one, called irritant eczema.
Okay.
Secondly, allergic contact eczema, whereby certain things that you may or may not be allergic to. For example, the commonest one is nickel, where you wear a nickel earring, and within 1 or 2 days it flares up, and your ear will get very itchy and flaky.
Okay.
Thirdly, some people can't help it because it's passed on from parents to kids, and that is called atopic eczema. That commonly presents with allergic rhinitis, where you get blocked nose, sneezing from house dust mite allergy, and also asthma, and that can develop from childhood.
Okay, so great. We're going to move on to our next question then. What can worsen dry, itchy skin condition or even lead to an eczema flare-up?
Okay, so earlier on you mentioned the fact that people can't stop scratching.
Right.
I think that's one of the major causes of aggravation of the skin, because whenever the skin starts to become red and irritated, it's very satisfying because your nervous system, or the brain and spinal cord system, is designed to protect you.
Yeah.
So when your skin is under attack and when there's inflammation, you will feel the itch. When you scratch excessively, there's actually a pleasure center. So much so that the more you scratch, the more pleasant you feel.
The better you feel.
Yes, and to the point that it's very common for patients to come to me with broken, bleeding, and with pus leaking out from the skin.
Ouch.
And that's
just from scratching?
Yes, just from scratching. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So our next question for you is, how can we care for itchy, dry skin that could have a positive effect for eczema skin as well?
Okay, so eczema skin, let's focus on that now, is predominantly dry, irritated or sensitive skin. So number one, skin barrier is broken. Number two, inflammation from the deeper layer of the skin. So what do? To stop the inflammation, you need to stop the signal from the white cells deeper in the skin. So let me come back to this schematic here, the blood vessels here. So the first thing you do, if you put a cool compress on, it actually constricts the blood vessel and reduces inflammation.
Okay.
Secondly, you can use products which soothe the skin that can reduce the irritation. Thirdly, you can use active ingredients. So for example, we know that essential fatty acids in the skin, such as linoleic acid and echinacea root extract, can actually calm the inflammation down and help the skin to repair itself. Now, one has to also understand the different kinds of moisturizers. So you've heard of lotions, creams, and ointments. Now, this is the commonest question patient asks. Any particular brands that you should go out for? Now, there's no one brand that fits everyone, and there's no one brand that fits you at all times.
Right.
So if you're in a very dry, cold environment, then ointments will work better.
Okay.
But if you are in a moderate, sort of in and out of air conditioning, a little bit of moisture, creams are just nice. Secondly, because the sweat interacts with the product, it's something you should use something that's less fragrance, less irritating to the skin. Because after it dissolves, mixed in with your probable mask nowadays, there are lots of chemicals that are sitting on your skin that can cause irritation, leading to eczema, which may require the use of steroid creams and ointments to recover the situation. But of course, the long-term use of steroids are not beneficial because it can cause skin barrier problem, and therefore using the right moisturizers and products is essential.
All right, great. So moving on to our next question then. Which products can help to manage itchy, dry, and irritated skin?
Okay, so coming back to the point that certain moisturizers are passive moisturizers.
Yep.
For example, mineral oils like ointments, which means it just sits on the top of the skin and doesn't allow the skin to breathe that much. Now that is very effective for perhaps older type skin, which are less inflamed but it's just dry, that you can lock in the moisture.
Okay.
But not all moisturizers are the same. The other thing is with the skin barrier, the key things are ceramides. Now, you've heard of ceramides. Now, linoleic acid is actually an essential fatty acid, which is a precursor for ceramides. And so when you have linoleic acid around, you can produce more ceramides, which can then rebuild the skin barrier. Now, rebuilding the skin barrier is very important because it then leads to a good barrier level that doesn't allow bacteria to come in and to keep things from inside going out, and therefore minimizing the risk of developing allergy to products as well.
Okay, great. So we're done with all the questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Adrian, for your insight and for teaching us. Well, I've learned a lot today.
Sure. All right.
And so before we end this, do you have any tips or any advice that you want to share to the audience?
Okay, so firstly, don't irritate your skin by rubbing too hard or using the wrong products.
No scratching, right?
Correct. Use the correct moisturizer. And of course, if you're in trouble, look for a skin specialist. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks again, Dr. Adrian. And to all the viewers out there, we have a special giveaway today. To stand a chance to win an Ask Me Doctor Wellness gift box and Linola Plus product worth 300 ringgit, all you have to do is follow these simple steps. Step 1, share this video. Step 2, comment I want to try Linola and tell us what you've learned from today's episode. Don't forget to tag 3 friends in the comment section below and do ensure that your account is in public mode. And a special thanks to our sponsor Linola Malaysia for sponsoring today's episode of Ask Me Doctor. Linola Plus offers a cream and lotion that is clinically tested and safe not only for adults but also for infants and toddlers. The unique formulation with essential linoleic acid and a special plant extract from the root of the Echinacea purpurea promotes the regeneration of the natural skin barrier. At the same time, it also calms itchy and irritated skin. A daily and long-term use of the Linola Plus is recommended to elevate itching and the dryness of the skin. The products have been proven to be dermatologically tolerable and are free of synthetic fragrances. Use the lotion for large skin areas and the cream for particularly affected skin areas on the body or face. It absorbs quickly and can be used daily. Well, we hope that you enjoyed and learned from today's program. Do join us next week for another episode. Stay tuned with us on Ask Me Doctor for more informative videos for you and your family's health. Thank you guys so much for watching and see you again soon. Till next time, I'm Syahira Khan.
And I'm Dr. Adrian Yong.
This is motherhood.com.my. Bye!
Bye!